Hello, friends, and welcome to another episode of the Juicebox Podcast. Hey, another quick news blurb. This is for the week of September 2nd, 2024. There's 4 stories in here. I'll get you through them quick and get you back on your way. Please don't forget that nothing you hear on the Juicebox Podcast should be considered advice, medical or otherwise. Always consult a physician before making any changes to your healthcare plan or becoming bold with insulin. Don't forget to save 40% off of your entire order at CozyEarth.com. All you have to do is use the offer code JUICEBOX at checkout. That's JUICEBOX at checkout to save 40% at CozyEarth.com. The T1D Exchange is looking for people to complete their survey. It takes about 10 minutes and it can be found at t1dexchange.org/juicebox. You just need to be a U.S. resident who has type 1 or is the caregiver of someone with type 1. They're going to ask you some very simple questions about diabetes. You're going to know the answers. Take you about 10 minutes, like I said, and you're on your way. t1dexchange.org/juicebox. I got some extra music here and nothing to say, so I'm just going to let the music go louder. This episode of the Juicebox Podcast is sponsored by the only implantable sensor rated for long-term wear, up to 6 months, the Eversense CGM. EversenseCGM.com/juicebox. Let's see, we have a couple things today that dropped out of the news that I thought was interesting or came across my desk. This first one is a press release from Beta Bionics about iLet. I'm not going to read the whole press release thing, just sort of the meat of the idea here. The iLet Bionic Pancreas will be the first AID integration of Freestyle Libre 3 Plus available in the United States. The integration will be launched, they're saying, in Q4 of 2024. It says here that then, an easy software update to the iLet will allow users to have a choice of iCGMs when they set up a new sensor. Okay, with both Beta Bionics and Abbott's ability to sell products through the pharmacy, users of the integrated platform will benefit from the ease of obtaining supplies with an innovative pay-as-you-go model. Okay, iLet and Freestyle Libre 3 Plus will also be available through durable medical equipment distributors. All right, that's good stuff. Looks like Omnipod users got an email from the company. We're excited to share the highly anticipated Omnipod 5 app for iPhone is expected to be in the App Store in mid-October. In the coming weeks, we'll provide helpful resources to get started on iPhone control with Dexcom G6. Goes on to say Omnipod 5 app for iPhone will be the first to be compatible with iOS 17. And to please note that iPhone 16 models will not be available with the Omnipod 5 app until it is fully compatible with iOS 18. I'm going to keep reading this because there's more information in here I think you might need. Managing operating system updates by phone manufacturers is not unique to Insulet or to Omnipod 5. We test an early version of the software to make sure it is acceptable to use with the Omnipod 5 app and complete testing once Apple releases the final operating system. Apple is releasing iOS 18 as soon as next week. If you plan to use the Omnipod 5 app on a compatible iPhone once available, we recommend remaining on iOS 17 and turning off your automatic updates to avoid getting iOS 18. That's from Omnipod about Omnipod 5. Very nice. Let's see what else we got here. I'll be back in a second with some news about the price going down on Zepbound and Mounjaro. This episode of the Juicebox Podcast is sponsored by the only 6-month wear implantable CGM on the market. And it's very unique. So you go into an office. I've actually seen an insertion done online, like a live one, they recorded it. The entire video is less than 8 minutes long and they're talking most of the time. The insertion took no time at all, right? So you go into the office, they insert the sensor. Now it's in there and working for 6 months. You go back 6 months later, they pop out that one, put in another one. So 2 office visits a year to get really accurate and consistent CGM data. That's neither here nor there for what I'm trying to say. So this thing's under your skin, right? And you then wear a transmitter over top of it. Transmitter's got this nice, gentle silicone adhesive that you change daily. So very little chance of having skin irritations. That's a plus. So you put the transmitter on, it talks to your phone app, tells you your blood sugar, your alerts, your alarms, etc. But if you want to be discreet for some reason, you take the transmitter off, just swoop, comes right off. No, not like peeling at it or having to rub off adhesive. It just kind of pops right off. This silicone stuff, really cool. You'll say it. And now you're ready for your big day, whatever that day is. It could be a prom or a wedding or just a moment when you don't want something hanging on your arm. The Eversense CGM allows you to do that without wasting a sensor, because you just take the transmitter off and then when you're ready to use it again, you pop it back on. Maybe you just want to take a shower without rocking a sensor with a bar of soap. Just remove the transmitter and put it back on when you're ready. EversenseCGM.com/juicebox. You really should check it out. This is just a regular old news clip from NBC News. Eli Lilly is lowering the cost of its blockbuster weight loss drug. Let's see. Eli Lilly announces lower price of blockbuster weight loss drug. Eli Lilly announced today that it will lower the cost of its weight loss drug Zepbound in an effort to get the medication in the hands of more people and to ease supply constraints. Now, a month's supply of the 2.5 milligram dose will cost $349, while a month's supply of the 5 milligram dose will cost $549. Previously, Zepbound cost $1,059 a month, regardless of the dose. Well, that sounds like less. Hopefully that's completely good news and I'm not missing some backroom reason why I should be upset about this. Looks like the two key changes that users will have to pay for the medicine out of pocket, that it'll be sold in vials rather than an auto-injector pen, might not be appealing to some patients. The company said the lower cost vials are meant to provide patients another, particularly those without insurance or those whose insurance won't cover the cost of the drug and others, with another option for securing the drug. Well, I think that sounds like good. Sounds like cheaper and more available to people. This last one is actually something I saw in the private Facebook group from a family who is a listener, but I saw their post, thought it was interesting. This is channelnewsasia.com. Type 1 diabetes patients welcome subsidies for more glucose monitoring systems, but they still want more support. Keep in mind, this story is out of Singapore. This is like a nice story about a family. They tell you a little bit about their little boy's, diabetes and why CGMs are important. But kind of the crux of it here is following a review of clinical evidence and the cost effectiveness of CGM systems for type 1 diabetes. The Ministry of Health now subsidizes up to 80% of the cost. Awesome. Currently, only one model of CGM systems, Dexcom G6, is subsidized. The ministry spokesperson told the website that it has started subsidizing this in May for eligible adults and children with type 1 diabetes receiving care at public healthcare institutions. And it goes on to talk about, if you're in Singapore, and a fair amount of you that listen are, I just thought I'd pop in here, put that here. The whole story is, again, at channelnewsasia.com. And then the heading of type 1 diabetes patients welcome subsidies for glucose monitoring systems, but call for more support if you would like to read the entire article. All right, thanks again for being with me. That's all I have for you this week. Great to check in, say hello. I hope you're all well, and have a terrific weekend. I want to thank the Eversense CGM for sponsoring this episode of the Juicebox Podcast and invite you to go to eversensecgm.com/juicebox to learn more about this terrific device. You can head over now and just absorb everything that the website has to offer, and that way you'll know if Eversense feels right for you. eversensecgm.com/juicebox. Thank you so much for listening. I'll be back very soon with another episode of the Juicebox Podcast. If you're not already subscribed or following the podcast in your favorite audio app like Spotify or Apple Podcasts, please do that now. Seriously, just to hit follow or subscribe will really help the show. If you go a little further in Apple Podcasts and set it up so that it downloads all new episodes, I'll be your best friend. If you're newly diagnosed, check out the Bold Beginnings series. Find it at juiceboxpodcast.com up in the menu, in the featured tab of the private Facebook group, or go into the audio app you're listening in right now and search for Juicebox Podcast Bold Beginnings. Juicebox is one word, Juicebox Podcast Bold Beginnings. This series is perfect for newly diagnosed people. The episode you just heard was professionally edited by Wrong Way Recording. WrongWayRecording.com.